Today we're going to be learning how to photograph, but most importantly to edit work in the style of Billy Kid. So Billy Kid looks specifically at flowers, but this works with any natural form, and we're going to look at how we can enhance those bright colours and create a dark contrasting background. So the first step of your edit is to go to Photopea, which is an online editing platform very similar to Photoshop. Now at this point, you're going to need to open a photo from your computer. Ideally, you will have taken these images yourself, but if you don't have access to a camera, then I'm happy for you to find one on the internet. Just let me know that's what you've done. Okay, so when you've chosen your image, you will see that it's locked in there as a background layer. And you can see that the background here is very bright. I want to enhance this bluey purple area. I'm going to go to the lasso tool here, and I'm going to right click just on this little corner and go to the polygonal lasso select. And this will enable me to click along the edge of the photograph to select the area that I want to focus on. You will see that I'm clicking all the way around the outside, and every time the angle of the petals change, I click again and move my mouse so that the lasso follows the shape that I want. Okay, and that just joins up at the end there. So now that I have the whole flower selected, I'm going to right click and click on inverse, and this will then flip the area that I've selected. So I'm going to be focusing on all of the grass instead of the flower. So I'm now going to go to Image, Adjustments, and click on Hue and Saturation. And this is going to allow me to change the colours. So if I pull down that saturation, it's going to make that green colour more and more dull until it's completely black and white. And I'm also going to bring the lightness down because I want that background to look really dark. I'm just going to leave a little hint of some of the grass in there and leave it there. Now in order for me to change elements of the flower, I'm going to inverse again, and you'll see, based on where that line is now, none of the background is selected, it's just the central part of the image. And I'm going to go to Image again, Adjustments, and Brightness and Contrast. So if I go back on that Pinterest page, you can see that although areas of the flowers are quite bright, there's lots of really dark shadows. So to enable me to create that on this picture, it's going to need to have a really high contrast. A high contrast will make the light bits lighter and the darker bits darker. So then if I bring the brightness down, those light bits will still stay very light. The rest becomes much darker, and click OK. Now the last thing I want to do is look at the colour balance of the image. So I'm going to go back up here to Image, Adjustments and Colour Balance. And this will allow me to change the colour of the flower, but with quite a lot of control. So actually, I'm going to show you an example quickly. If I go to Image, Adjust and Hue, I can drag this and it changes the hue of the whole image. But I'd like to have more control over the specific colouring that I'm using. Then going back to Colour Balance, and this will just adjust certain areas. So for example, when I pull up the red, you can see that there was quite a lot of red in the centre of that image, which is becoming more and more pink. However, it's not changing the blue quite as much, so I'm dragging that to where I want it to. And then actually, if I lose a little bit of that blue there, it will make the whole flower a nice purpley tone with lots of red focused on the centre. So when I'm happy, I can right click and deselect. From here, I'm going to click File and Export As. You don't want to save it as a PSD because this is a Photoshop file, so you won't be able to open it if you don't have access to Photoshop at home. So I'd like you to export that as a PNG, and you can afford to bring this quality down until the size of the image is around 1 megabyte. I'd rather it be a little over than a little under, so I've gone for 1.3 there, and I'm going to click Save, and then that's going to download for you. From here, I'd like you to upload that to Google Classroom. Good luck!